This is my resume for trading, basically, if you compressed it down to one page. It took me a long time to motor through the rooms, and I'll give you the benefit of my doubt. In terms of what Dan mentioned, yeah, I have a bachelor's in biology and a master's in biochemistry, a PhD from Rutgers Medical School, a postdoc at Columbia, Yale. And I published a lot and patented some things, too. I patented Clarinix for allergies. I discovered and patented Lunesta for insomnia. And I also patented Cymbalta for obstructive sleep apnea. I out-licensed Clarinix to Sharon Plow. We developed Lunesta ourselves, and we out-licensed this to Lilly. I got my MBA about 10 years ago, a little bit more, 12 years ago, at Boston University Graduate School of Business. And basically it was in cyber marketing. It gets you to buy, purchase, consume, and spend. And how could it not, right? I got a law degree in intellectual property and cyber law, but the important thing for us today is that none of what I learned in school was directly applicable to trading. None of it helped me. They don't teach trading in school per se, and in all those universities and colleges and academies, I didn't learn anything. Basically, Dan mentioned I've published a bit. Sorry about that. People are bombarding me here. 1 or 2 papers in stocks and commodities, a couple, 3, 4 at Trader Planet, looking again to give the 50,000-foot view on what is useful, what is valuable, what is not, from my point of view anyway. Things that I can see and hear and understand. I have a lot of mathematics background, so for me, if you can't measure it, it doesn't so much exist. And of course, Einstein said that too. A thing that has not been measured cannot be understood. All right, so I published some in Market Clips. Let's see here. Let's get back onto this. Here we go. Basically, rooms or methods to consider that I thought were worthy. Rooms that gave a fairly decent impression for what they did. Rooms that seemed to be accomplished in trading to provide track records that would allow for inspection. And it's important for me anyway to see a record up front and to understand it. For that reason, I also published on rooms I consider worth avoiding. Rooms that would post records but not show their trades in real time. Rooms that show trades in real time but did not post accurate and truthful track records. And of course, if you go through any of the chat sites or the rooms, you can see that there's a lot of complaints about rooms that just in fact don't do that on any day of the week. Futures Truth has been particularly supportive of my efforts. The mission of the journal is to actually bring the truth to traders. I published some years ago the value of mathematical promise of looking for more money per trade as opposed to less in Pig's Rule and Bears and Bulls Drool. I also looked at various ways you could tip success in your favor and define what success was. I also found out ways of altering your profit margin per trade on any given trade to amplify your profits and dissect them from pandemic failure. And I spent a fair amount of time examining the promised performance of humans versus machines, or I would like to say carbon versus silicon. There are a large number of programs out there, a little over 700 if you will, that trade mechanically every day. And I looked through some 300 or 400 of those, and as you might suspect, machines keep perfect track records, and they do, and asked the question, which are the 6 or 7 best of those, and I published that in the paper, Human versus Robot. I started to find rooms that were dedicated, distinct, and different from the general rooms out there. Only about 1 or 2 out of every 100 that I saw. I originally called them giants, trade giants, but Rev and Wood coined the term titans, trade titans, and so I stuck with that. And I published a paper just a few months ago that was 667 rooms. As you know, we've already eclipsed that number and continued on today. In fact, the paper I published called 722 rooms just a few weeks ago was Finding the Midas Touch. And as you know, we're up to 673 as a part of this lecture. In fact, we're actually at 781 today. there's roughly a new room formed every day somewhere in the web domain, and I find them all. If I don't, you people email me, and I certainly find them a lot. Okay, so my trading background, as I spoke to you before, I bought 2 packages in early 2009 and 11 that failed me. I ruined 2 accounts. That means I lost everything. I wasn't sure why I had failed, but I was not alone. I had plenty of company. There are a fair number of quotes out there about 90 or 95% of retail traders failing. I went and looked at the actual articles themselves. It's in the 82 to 91, but we can go with 90%. Doesn't really matter. We're generally considered human ATMs, and that's how big institutions see us. And the reason they fail, there's 10. The most common number of reasons is 10. It seems we always have 10 reasons. And the basic premise of all those reasons is that it's our fault. We lack a plan, we lack money management. But for the 2 packages I bought, there was a plan, there was money management, there was everything I was supposed to need to succeed, and yet they didn't succeed at all. When I bought them and turned them on, they just dissipated. I'm sure you have all the same experiences. In graduate school, business, and law school, when 90% of the students fail an exam, or fail the whole course for that matter, it's the teacher's fault, not our fault. But here, of course, we were blamed. I never saw any of the reasons out there like, what you bought really doesn't work. The education package you got, that has never been any good. And that strategy is 20 years old, and they just keep reselling it. So I began a systemic review of the industry, and I started actually in 2008, but got pretty much in gear around 2009. The industry, as you know, is massive, but it's not defined. There's really not a way to understand it. It's growing, and it's unregulated completely by the SEC, by any of the agencies. So they have a lot of freedoms that may not be overtly obvious at a distance. So I used prospective empirical evaluation. That means I sat down and paid attention. I took hundreds upon hundreds of free trials, and I will also admit that many rooms granted me a protracted free status to sit there and capture the data necessary to substantiate the statistical analyses that I run. I need about 150 trades in real time to substantiate the worthiness of the room. I was in 4 rooms every day. The room calls 4 or 5 trades. 4 rooms is 20 trades a day. You can handle 20 trades in 8 hours. It's not overpowering, especially during lunchtime. Unworthy rooms taught me what to avoid, and little by little I started to reject them quickly. After a day or 2, I knew exactly what I was seeing. Worthy rooms taught me what to understand and study more, and I would spend more time with them. I'd eventually developed into a talent scout looking for good rooms, or a headhunter. I had to dig deep. Some of these rooms that I found that are so unbelievably worthy were on page 280 of my Google search string. Who goes out to 280? Well, I went out to page 500 to find them all. But the point is that by a cyber search domain alone, they're invisible. You will never find them. I had to be an accountant. These rooms are very slick in how they handle their numbers, and I certainly had to understand compliance and ethics. And this was all done just to find out what is a good room. How do I find a good room? It is not overtly obvious, I'm sure, as you all know. So I'm going to drill down on some of these details. I have the question box up, and I'm going to tell you that if you have, are there straight lines, a standard indicator? No, there's not. If you have a question that's relevant to what I'm talking about, raise it. If you have the question, someone else will. If you're asking a question that's off the cuff, hold to the end. That way it's easier for me to sort of answer the question that you have in the same time that I'm speaking. So this is what my computer looked like each day. I'd open up 4 different rooms, set them up and running, track what they said, track what they did, write down what they traded, compare the results that they got and posted to the results I got and posted, ask the question if I could see the trades or not. When I finished with them, I went on to the next 4 rooms, and sometimes I'd have 5 open. And I finished with them, I'd go on to the next 4. So I would be able to finish some 5, 6, 7 rooms a week, 30 a month. At the end of 3 months, I'd seen 100 rooms. And at the end of 6 years, I'd seen them all. And studied them, some for a little bit of time, some for many months at a time. Here's what I found, and this is the sort of the 50,000-foot view. This is the big picture, as they say. The vast majority of rooms out there are not trade rooms. They are sales rooms. They sell for a living. They sell platforms, education, programs, and so on. There's nothing wrong with that, except that they're not trade rooms. They look like trade rooms. They sound like that. They have famous traders in them, but they don't trade for a living. They do something else. And in order to get you to pay attention to them, they have, because this is cyber marketing we're dealing with, they have to increase your level of receptivity. They have to increase your acceptance of them or reason to believe. Why would you think or understand or consider them as worthy? And the one thing they use the most is wisdom. This is the biggest draw. It could be experience. It can be knowledge. It can be expertise. It can have a lot of different ways, but basically it's wisdom. And the most common way of projecting wisdom is in a university setting. This is a short list of rooms that claim to be universities or have universities. This is a short list of sites that claim to be academies. These are institutes. This is a school. And I graduated from academies, colleges, schools, and universities. And these are not real. These are not accredited. They don't have a faculty. You don't matriculate. They don't offer a degree. They may be smart. I'm sure they are. They may be experienced. They may have a lot of wisdom, but they are not a university. They just do that to command your attention at a distance. A second way, very close to wisdom, is sophistication. All of these sites, and another 50 right behind them, speak to high probability. Setups, targets, stops, strategies, analysis, determinations, evaluations. These are not real either. They have not measured probability. I am distinctly aware of how to measure probability. I look for probabilities all the time, especially when they say it's a high probability setup. They don't measure probability. Now, someone asked me, well, what does probability look like? Well, let's just take a simple trade showing this trade. We're going to sell up top. We're going to buy down below. That's our trade for today, for now. It doesn't really matter. Now, what I do, if I have a particular strategy that exhibits this setup in a trade, I break it down and I measure. I put an axis in so I know where my origins are. I control for time on the linear axis, and I follow an expectation of performance, and I watch 100 trades in real time with that sell and that target. I look at the number, the frequency distribution of those trades that fail, those trades that pull back, those trades that stop out, and those trades that hit target 1, and those trades that hit target 2. And when I'm done, I will know the algebraic probability of one trade. That's one trade. If you have 10 trades, you have to measure them all. Now, without going into more detail, I think there's a very high probability that when you cut the grass, you won't be hit by an asteroid. And I think there's a very low probability that you'll live to be 140. So when these rooms talk about high probability, I presume it's in between those two numbers. But then again, they have not measured that. The best way to impress people on the worthiness of your product, your platform, your education is wealth. We are attracted to numerical numbers. We think a number is far more objective than anything else. We think a number is like a solid block of granite. It's an absolute number. And these sites, the Dow Scalper and so on, speak to numbers. A certain amount of money and a certain amount of time. Winnings that in fact are guides to millionaires, double or triple your income, 6 figures, complete freedom, $1.4 million, trades that are profitable 95% of the time. This is the standard fare for sites that deal with money. Trading magnet. Money's not magnetic, but apparently they've figured out a way to do it. How about this site out of Australia? 167 average people. What is the definition of an average person? Made $46,572.79 in less than 1 month. That is so impressive, isn't it? Not so much. This comes under the legal term puffery, and it's everywhere on the planet. It's not simply here. But in fact, it speaks to promotional statements that no reasonable person, that means anyone out of diapers, would take as literal. Those claims of wealth, they don't apply to you. They don't apply to me. They're not promised to us. They are just attractors. And you would say, well, I know that. You know, that's not fooling me. Then the question is, why do hundreds of sites have them? If they don't work, they would not have them, right? They do work. And they're impressive everywhere that they use them. Another way of communicating wealth is water. Trading by the water. Being on the water. Why? Because water indicates wealth. Location, 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 right? We've heard this all the time. So if you're a successful trader, you will be on the water. Somehow, we will have you on the water. Maybe not there, but maybe here. Or if not there, how about this? Grail traders, have you on the dock. You can quit your job and travel. I like it. Street smart traders, right on the beach. Oh, I just love the beach. How about this one? Oil Trading Academy, right at the water's edge. And so does Samurai, right on the water's edge. Is this true? No, it's not true. How about this? The new, rich, lazy trader. Do you think he has enough gold bullions on his homepage? No? Well, how about then his and her Vipers? Does that help you feel more comfortable with his profile? I don't buy it. Comparison. Here's a simple one. Simply the best. And, ooh, they're an academy. Best strategies revealed. Right. Best live trading guidance. Oh, I like the best. Whoop, there's one more. Home of the world best night. Shouldn't that be world's best? Shouldn't it be? I mean, it's not even spelled right. Well, if it's the best, it's the best. Bullseye has the world's best. I don't think so. Another thing I see often is called the power of absolutes. We are attracted to absolutes, the biggest, the fastest, the highest, the tallest, the strongest. Here's examples of 3 absolutes. There's 50 of them, but you'll get the point right now. First one, never lost. Never is such a big word, isn't it? Never lost. Oh, I just love that. Zach's got it right. No way to fail. No way to fail. And Anna Cooley, oops, her pink is competing with my pink. Here we go. Oops, sorry. Most profitable. Never lost. No way to fail. Most profitable. These are absolutes. They don't apply to us. Another idea that people have is considered the following. Image. If you trade successfully, what does a successful trader look like? Do you have an idea of what they might look like? Well, here's one. Sterling profits. Young man. Well-dressed. Well-groomed. Sitting at his desk. Not a care in the world. Feet up. Smoking. I like it. I want to be like him. Big boys finance. Oh, I could do that. I could go there. And ladies, not to leave you out, how about this? Georgia Anderson's futures trading. Do you think she needs that swimsuit? Yes or no? Futures trader 71, shaken not stirred. A bond woman there in flames. Okay. How about this? FOB.com has a new app. Do you see the app there in the middle? That's how they demonstrate their new app. Virgin traders makes things Easy. Okay. Okay, if you don't get the idea, how about this? Trading naked. All right, we'll move off the image. This one is unique in the world of futures trading. Supernatural. In business, law, medicine, science, there is no supernatural. There is nothing, but there is here. The James 16 group, very apostolic. When you go and look at their first-time visitor video, which I did, it says there, I just watched this video update, and my reaction, in short, is, Holy Mother of God, that's unbelievable. That wasn't my reaction, but well, okay, that's theirs. Here's another one said, bid my salvation from trader's hell. Whoa, all right. Here's what the owner says. Ulster Medicine is $900 a year, and the James Group is $129 a month. So that's what, $1,600 a year, right? So Ulster Medicine is less than, I don't know what that means. How about this one? Trading faith. They state directly that they trade with God's rhythm. God's rhythm, all right? Alpha says they trade with God's vision, all right? Ghost traders, who do you think they trade with? Anyone know? Breakout trading, crystal ball. Oh, I just love crystal balls. I think they're so good. And how about this one? The Yemeni wizard trades with the secret code of the Illuminati. Did you know that the Illuminati can be used to trade futures? You know it now. Now, if you have any other questions about supernatural, you can email me. But before you do, let me tell you that the following things do not work, because these are all magic, voodoo, spirits, and occult. Yeah, not really. Not so much. Dorothy slippers don't work in trading, no matter how many times you click the heels. The Ouija board does not work. The all-seeing eye does not work. Tarot cards, x-ray glasses, magic wands, and the ring do not work. So set all these aside. So now I have a pop quiz for you. Are you ready? Pop quiz. I'm going to show you 4 sites. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you had one word to describe the marketing message, what would it be? Anyone have any? Any questions? Can you see what I'm looking at? I'm not seeing any questions, Dan. Are they coming down?
Yeah, hi, Dean. You might have to
Here
scroll
we
to
go.
the bottom of your question
Gold.
box.
Now, let me get all the way down here.
You might be up, yeah, near the, just scroll all the way down. There's a bunch of very skeptical comments coming in. Also, while we're, since I'm here on the line, one thing I forgot to point out to everybody, I'd like to just take a quick second to point it out, is if you go to investing.com/MarketFest, go to the schedule, and click on the 145 tab for Dr. Hanley here. He does have a download available called The Truth About Live Futures Trading Rooms PDF. I forgot to mention that earlier, but I want to make sure that everybody can get to that. So, Dean, were you able to find the questions?
I'm not sure. I'm just rastering down here. Oh, they're not in the 222. Oh, you missed. Okay, oh, good. Yes, scam.
There you go.
Okay, so, you know, I really have to hand it to you. You weren't fooled. Here's the message for each of these sites. So you ready? Yeah, I made them up. Yeah, that's good. You got it, right? Yeah, fooledyou.com, made you look, hubba, hubba, hubba. Yeah, these don't rip. But the idea is that for a moment you might have thought that, you know, they were. So let's get down to the heart of it now. How do I look for rooms? What do I think towards, and what's important to me? Do they show trades, contracts, and final profit loss? Here's a list of rooms that begin with A. Just the A's. No track records. No track records. The B is even bigger. So that's 25, 30 rooms. They have a lot of reasons why they don't have a track record, but it doesn't matter. I want it current, continuous, trade by trade, day by day, months to years. Truthful and forthright. They have to tell you the truth. How do I know it's the truth? I sit in the room and watch and make sure that it's truthful. Track records speak to accountability and reliability, but they are not these things. Student records, lovely. Raving testimonies, I don't care. A few good trades, a few good days, not interested. Hitting target 1 or target 2, so what, right? Yes, Eddie, we will get to rooms that let you trade their money. Yes, I have those too. There's a standard disclaimer in hundreds of rooms that says past performance doesn't predict the future. It doesn't have to. Past performance is 100% predictive of the past. That's all it has to do. Performance was never designed to predict the future. It was just designed to tell you the present. The present is that anyone can have a false track record. A lot of people do have false track records. Let's just be polite. They do, it doesn't matter. But the point is that I pay attention to those track records and I use standard accounting. Okay, so this is my number one. There's lots of rooms that don't have a track record. For example, they'll tell you that they don't have a track record because they teach. They're all about teaching. They don't trade, they teach. So I said to them, so I go to a school of music and I want to learn how to play piano. And I say to the piano instructor, play something. He says, we teach piano here, but we don't play piano. They teach trading, but they don't trade. I don't find those compatible. Rooms speak about wealth, making money, being successful, having a second income, financial security. When I ask them, how much is that? How much is financial security? How much is extra wealth? The answer is, I don't know. We don't know. So I took a guess. I said, let's try to net $50,000 a year, net, in your pocket, take home, and at 3 contracts a trade. How did I pick these out? Basically, last year, the median salary in the United States was $50,000, so that's a reasonable amount of money to make. It's not too much, not too little. Secondly, why 3 contracts? Mathematically speaking, except for maybe 1 or 2 rooms, you can't do it on 1 contract. You can sometimes do it on 2. 3 contracts a trade is a good thing to do. You can make it on 3. And I don't think 3 contracts a trade is too many, to trade. You can weight it, by the way. $50,000 a year on a 1250 contract is the same thing as $20,000 a year on a $5 contract and $40 on a K. Yes, so if you're trading gold and oil, you can expect 40 if you trade the NASDAQ and the Dow. You can trade 20 and so on. So let's break this 50 down, shall we? 50,000 a year basically is about 1,000 a week, which is again about 200 a day. And this is net. This is in your pocket, right? You take it home in your pocket. If a room has 1,000 trades a year, which is not a lot, it's basically 20 a week, 4 trades a day. And remember, we're doing 3 contracts a trade, so it's 12 contracts. 12 contracts are going to cost you $5 a piece, about, maybe less, but close. So that's $60 a day in round trip. We'll throw in some slippage. You need to gross 300 to net. If you divide by 12, then you need to gross $25 per contract per trade, the minimum for the next 1,000 trades to get $50,000 a year. 25 gross per contract gives you 300 gross per day, which nets you 200 a day, a week, a year in your pocket. That's my definition of trading successfully with futures. You don't like that one, you can pick, they don't have a track record. Alpha Wave does not have a track record. Okay, so let's go on. Here's an example of a room that has a track record, right down to the penny. I'm going to show it to you. In the month of 2014, right here, this is their track record, and if you can't read it, it's no problem. At the very end, they earned $17,037. Whee-ho, right? Unbelievable. I only won $1,000 a week. They made $17,000. So in a month, instead of making 4, they made 17. Let me help you see what I see. This is the best day of January. They made $1,887.50. They have several kinds of trades here. The first grouping, these 9, are at 5 contracts apiece. 5 contracts. It's a $12.50 trade. So 9 trades at 5 contracts, 45 contracts. They have these 3 that are at 25 contracts. Raise your hand if you trade 25 contracts at once. I don't. Anyway, that's what they do. All right? The other trades here, the green trades, those are trades that were called but did not execute. Right? So they have 3 of those. All right, so let's do the math. Here we go. So for this day, 120 contracts, right? These 2 added up at $5. So that's 600 from the 1,800. Leaves us 12 and change. Not bad, right? Divide the 1,200 by the 120 contracts. You get $11.66 per contract per trade. Less than 1 tick. 1 tick is tough. And if you have any slippage, 1 tick is a failure. You're not going to have anything at all. So for me, I look at that and say I had to trade 120 contracts perfectly to generate less than $12.50 a trade. It's not going to happen. It's not a reasonable expectation, and it's not here either. It's valid. It's a valid track record, but all that glitters is not gold. And what do we call this mathematically? The penny trap. Right? Step out of line for 1 second, snap, you don't make any money. Get out too early, snap, you don't make any money. Do they show their trades in real time? I learn by watching. If you don't have to listen to the rest of this seminar. The single greatest, most demanding expectation of a head trader is to show his or her trades in real time. They can type it, they can tell you, they can narrate it, they can put it on a DOM, they can put it on a price chart, they can communicate it, but it needs to be understood and replicated in real time. I need to see where they get in, where they get out, what their target is, and I want it clearly stated. So showing trades this way is not these things. Blink and you miss it trades. How about people who run and go, did you see that setup 2 minutes ago? How many people took that setup 2 minutes ago? That doesn't count. Gongs. Your gong, your wave file. You know, some indirect method that the trader hides what they're doing. Just hits a bomb, you know. Buy, buy, buy. You know, or buy here. Okay, so where'd you get in? I'm not showing you. Oh, okay. Well, why aren't you showing me? No, I don't want to. Oh, okay. Not in your best interest. So if you ask for a track record, you ask to make some amount of money, and you ask to see trades in real time, you go from this to this. 12 rooms. I call them trade titans. They trade truthfully, transparently, and profitably in real time every day. And here they are. The first one on this group I found in 2013. And as you might suspect, I've been looking for them every year since then. Generally, I find only about 1 a year, maybe 2 a year. And it takes me a long time to find them. So what? How would this help you succeed? Who cares? Why bother? Well, here's one. If they all net more than $50,000 a year. In the world of trading, that is a big, 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 big deal. That's at the 99th percentile of accomplishment. It's stunning in reality. It's a magnificent achievement for them to do that. They are patient, polite, and friendly. And how strange, right? They're not arrogant. They're not insulting. They're not rude. They're not autocratic. They're not dictatorial. They're not any of those things. They're just really nice. I can tell you I've set aside not one, but two potential trade titans because of attitude. One by the head trader and one by the trading audience. Yeah, I don't think, if you want that, email me. I'll send you one or two names of rooms that will abuse you every day. If that's what you want. I don't want that. I think they should be professional. They will teach and trade together. You will see both. They don't hold back. They are very generous in what they do. So ask some basic questions. Do they trade when I trade? Do they trade when I trade? Will they teach me? Now, I have an interjection on education that you may or may not like, but it goes like this. I think to trade successfully, really successfully, you need some form of talent, true talent. Now, we may all agree that that's easy. Oh, of course, yes, everyone needs true talent. But in reality, if you don't have true talent, you won't be able to buy it or osmose it or absorb it. Now, true talent is not transferable like indicators and platforms. I believe these head traders have true talent. I don't know if you do, but if your success is dependent upon it, it may not be so easy for you. You know, when we take a trade in the futures market, we trade against tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other traders, banks, think tanks, super speed computers, high-frequency traders, gurus, investment firms. And yet when we look out our window, we see none of that competition. And I think we all agree that when the competition goes way, way, way up, the chances of success go way, way, way down. And so talent may be one of the things that they have that you might need that you can't buy. Some are morning traders, right? They just trade in the morning. They quit around 11, 10:30 or so. Some of these trade titans, they trade all day. Obviously, if they trade all day, they trade in the morning too. Some of them, and a few of them, by the way, have broker-assisted trading. That means if you're too busy, don't want to, or not interested, but like what they do, because they all have free trials and they will all show you what they have, then in fact you can have them do a broker-assisted trade for you and you can step back. I like that. And at least one of them does overnight trades. He's really gifted. He studies patterns, he produces effects, and he is so accomplished at overnight trading. You may or may not know that some of the greatest gains in the S&P 500 occur at night, and the greatest losses occur during the day. They trade the old reliables, ES, Russell, NASDAQ. They trade currencies. They trade the exotics, right? Gold, silver, natural gas, oil. And they trade what I call Z-speak. In fact, Rios trades more indices than anyone I know. They trade them all, practically. These groups, these 12 titans, are going to have a website that will be dedicated to them. It's not open yet, so don't Google it. It's not functional, but when it does, you'll be able to go there, click on their icon, go straight to their trading room, line drive, look at their landing page, which they will select for you that has the key accomplishments and attributes of what they do, or in fact read an executive white paper that summarizes the features of the room. All concentrated in one package, all 12 rooms on one page. So how would you use this information? You should look at these rooms, at least I do, as the one group that in fact can increase your success in a way that is beyond what you can do yourself. It is a recommendation based on what I have seen, what I observed, and what I have found in them. And I looked very hard and very carefully. This is a dynamic list, so you look at these rooms and you check them out. That's all. Read up on the papers I have, look at the listing, and as one of you already asked, what happened to Trading Clan and Trading Star Pro? This is a dynamic list. This is for retail traders. This is not for me. This is for you. Rooms come and some rooms go. For example, Jaguar Club. The head trader retired. Not unreasonable. Other reasons like that. And they communicate these to me. This is not like a kind of a shot in the dark. They call me up and they say, we wish to disengage. All right. I'm looking at Trading Mission right now and another room that's actually private. This will be my 4th private room that I've watched behind the scenes, behind the curtains, if you will, and seen them emerge into a public domain room. So a lot of people call me up and say, would you pay attention to me for some weeks or months before I go public? And I will do that for free, by the way. You can sign up for a free trial. First question, can you understand what they do? Can you see what they do? Can you trade as they trade? Can you replicate what they are? Do you like what you see? You know, you have 12 rooms. You can't trade 12. Obviously, you only trade 2. So if you like what you see, you have to make some partial selections based on choice like that. If you trade as they trade, you ought to profit as they do. And if you don't, find out why not. Don't quit. Don't walk away. It takes months to find these rooms. There's only 12 of them. You cannot discard them so easily. You can consider a membership. Trial memberships whenever they're done. If you have any questions, you can email me. And people email me all the time. The big rooms that I have evaluated and gone through, I spent very many months on. I was in Trader Shark for 6 months. I was in Alpha Wave for 7 months. I was in PureTech for 4 months. And, I was in E&E Trader for 5 months. I will stay in some rooms. I've been in Global Forces Trade Room for 8 or 9 months, 10 months. I stay for a long time. I've gotten good at spending, paying attention to 3 or 4 rooms at once. Now, how could I not, right? So, in conclusion, I want to thank you and acknowledge the following. I haven't gotten a penny from these rooms. My recommendations are not monetized. I don't get any form of reciprocating money. I've never asked for any money to review these rooms. I've never received any. There are always some rumors floating around that that's happened. But you can email any of the head traders and ask them, what did you pay Dean for that review? And the answer will be nothing. Now, I admit that they gave me free passes to sit there and mathematically pay attention, and I have to watch 100 trades. Here's a simple question for you. An average trader is right 50% of the time, are they not? An ignorant trader is right 50% of the time. If you know nothing about trading, you'll be right 50% of the time. So how long do you have to watch an experienced trader to statistically know the difference between chance and talent? What's your definition of talent? To my liking, the definition of talent is when they can net $50,000 a year. And generally it takes somewhere between 118 and 273 trades. If you can do it sooner, email me, and I'd like to see. These are my observations. These are my opinions. This is my ideas, my understandings. If they're wrong, they're my fault, no one else's. I do consult on these 12 rooms. I consult on all the rest of them if you want. I'll tell you how to optimize profit loss, how I do it mathematically. Because when you stand on the shoulders of the titans, you can do very well. How you can customize trailing stops and trade stops. How to control for the time of week, diurnal variation. How to control for the time of day, circadian rhythm. How to control for the type of trade. Algebraic probability. Why do you want to do these things? Because Mother Nature, Father Time, and catastrophic failure do not communicate to each other. You must do it for them. I have some papers that have come out. You have, I think, one attached, not this one. 722 futures trading rooms, right? The Midas touch. I like that paper. The truth about live futures trading room. This is a parahesic truth. If you don't know what this is, look it up. I am a parahesic trader. And lastly, mathematical modeling to harness pullback to maximize profit. These are all at this website. You can look at it at any time. All the papers are free. It's been my pleasure. I'll take any questions. And if you want to, you can email me at the accompanied one. All right, there are 100. Okay, let's see here. How did you come? I have found about 400 rooms myself. You have communicated another 100 of them that I didn't find. And I look at all the listings for the various eco partners and Online Trading Central and webinar series. I find them that way. I find them referenced. I find them any way I can. Let's see here. Any of the rooms that claim to let you trade with their money legitimate. I don't know what the word legitimate is, but I have not, truthful and honest, I guess would be the word. I have not examined that. Okay, let me see here. Global victims, yeah. Okay, strictly cash. Can you put the URL in the comments box? I will. All right. God will make. Yeah, and I have no problem with deities and religion. I really don't. I just don't think you can claim to trade with God's rhythm and only be accurate 72% of the time. God ought to be more accurate than that. If that's true, he's not communicating to you. Anyone can post a false track record, and they do. I think I told you that I sit in rooms and watch carefully for a long period of time, actually, to make sure that they do speak the truth. They have some very, the biggest one, of course, is the rooms that don't show you the trades and then post a track record afterwards. Then you have to do a regression analysis to show there's any correlation between what you saw and what they post. What caused you to remove the strategy lab from your list? He decided he wanted to be part-time. He wasn't going to do it anymore. And that was his choice. He told me he withdrew. The best room is Global Trade Room. They're one of the best, I'll agree. And they have a new package under this $10,000, and they communicated it to me. I think it's attractive, and I think you should look at it. They are quite receptive to any kinds of financial arrangements, and you ought to look at them. I've heard good things about the global forces. I have too, and I like them. Not all the Titans issue tradable signals. Yes, they do. I don't know what the definition of tradable is, but to my definition, I can see it, understand it, and replicate it in real time. If I can do that, that's a tradable signal. And you know, I sit there and trade 100 of them, or 200 of them, or 300 of them, or 500. And people come at me and say, "Oh, I can't do that." And I say, "Well, how many trades did you take?" "I don't know." "Well, what did you make on the trades you took?" "I don't know." "Well, what was the slippage on the trades you took?" "I don't know." "Well, what do you know?" I can't do what they do." "All right, fine, fine." If you're gonna fail at something, fail carefully. Day trading the futures is not recommended by me. All right, day trading the futures was 3 years ago. That paper is very old. If that's all you've got to work on, you are 4 years out of date and obsolete in your opinion and choice. Revs is wonderful. I agree. Trade E-mini, I don't agree. They don't post a track record. That track record is not valid in my opinion. What happened to the clan? They went on a different direction. They emailed me. The head of the clan did, Ken did, and said he did not want to pursue this. TradingStar Pro did not keep up his track record. Harry. And I emailed him 30 times. You know, some of the rooms, when they have deficiencies, you know, say, "Oh, no problem, I'll take care of it." Other ones, you know, tell me to pound sand. Who am I? It's their business model. It's their business. They can do whatever they want, right? So it's not up to me. I'm not a compliance officer, and I'm not an auditor, right? So I don't have those powers. Having said that, though, you as the retail audience are extremely vigilant. I get 100 emails a week complaining about every decimal point, every fraction, everything's out of place. But some rooms just don't do it. Did you base your findings on one? 1 week trials? Sometimes I took 2, but like I was in pristine. They took 1 trade in 4 days. Mathematically, I can't live with 1 trade in 4 days. They trade 4 indices, but they only took 1 trade. I took a second trial, it wasn't any better. So 2 weeks, it's a long time. Which one is your 12 is your favorite? Yeah, I don't do that. I got 12. It's up to you to find the favorite, right? Alpha wave. I answered alpha wave. I have mathematical approaches to her that could help. I wish I came across your information. So PureTech. I was in PureTech for 4.5 months. I took a little over 1,300 trades in real time. I could not see the trades because they're hidden from me. When the trade was called by a gong sound called bye bye bye, I looked over and I saw the price, what the price was, and I entered the trade. Very often stops were not announced, so you're on your own. I used the standard procedure that came out of the trade guide that they have. You get off here, you get out there, you had this, you had that. And at the end of 4 months, I had was in the hole $7,000. There was a very weak correlation between what I saw in real time and recorded in my notes and what I saw as a track record. Very often the track record had entries that were superior to mine, exits that avoided catastrophic failures, and stops that would have basically dazzled any person into oblivion. And they had a very oppressive track record. So for me, I couldn't replicate the trades. I could not do that. Since I couldn't see the trades, then obviously I can't be expected to replicate them. Did you consider the cost? I don't. That's a good question. Some people ask me why I recommend some rooms because of cost. I could do an asset evaluation on rooms, but that's not fair because I'm not here to evaluate the asset. I'm here to evaluate its truthfulness, its transparency, and its profitability. That does, on its own accord, put you at the 99th percentile. And that goes from almost 780 rooms, maybe down to 12, and maybe soon to be 13. That ought to get you up on the pedestal. Oh, thank you, Sam. I appreciate trade smart. Yeah, so universities in general, I'm not so impressed with that. Dan Brown has a university. What does that mean? I graduated from Rutgers University, Columbia University, Yale University, Concord University, and Boston University. I know universities. He's not a university. He's a man. He might be very smart. Chip Cole, he is, but he's not active. He doesn't have a room. He's not out in the open. He's a great trader, but I can't see his track record, and I don't go where I can't see. CFRN scalper. Michael B, the head trader there, wonderful person to listen to, just as smooth as can be. He's quick. I'll give him that. And he's a scalper, and so is Michael Ramos at the E-mini volume trader, and so is George Michigan, as both his oil scalping and his their scalping programs, and even the global trade room. Simon has runners, of course, that can knock your socks off, but they scalp. I may be faster than the average bear by now. I'll admit that, but they're not impossible. There are some good rooms that offer method-based trading and then default to a discretionary style. Rooms that offer, I don't offer, no. Yeah, like as a way of like double, no, I don't think so. These rooms, they trade, they teach, and they have the method in harmony. So I'm unable to separate them out. The downloads at the end of this, you can go to the website and get the downloads. I'm glad you endorsed right. Okay. Yeah, I'm working on that. Yeah, I did the trading zones, one of the ones I set aside. They're scalpers too, by the way. I got thrown out of the trading zone. I get thrown out of a lot of rooms. I get thrown out of them all the time. What about Kiwi Pop? And Waviche, what about them? Did you see their track record? They don't have a track record. At least I don't think they do. I mean, it's hard to remember all 7 or 8. International Trader. I did look at Tony's site very carefully. I looked at every trade, every penny for a whole year. He just, he doesn't make enough money. He's a scalper. I'll agree to that. But mathematically, it wasn't enough. And I told him that, and I published the paper. And you can get the paper. It's on my website. It's a whole paper on the International Trader. Bill's room, yeah, and I am familiar with Bill, but he wouldn't let me in. He wouldn't let me see his track record. F, you're fired. I got 500 rooms to do that. Sorry. I did look at Vector Vest, same thing, no track record. Apex Investing, no track record. No track record, no interest, right? Einstein said a thing. I find it incomprehensible to trade anything, measure nothing, and go on to say this is successful, or it's powerful, or it's unique, or it's it's applicable. How much do these rooms charge a month? They vary. 300, 200, 400, something like that. Are there any trading rooms that utilize market profile? Not as a standalone phenomenon. They will say that. They may emphasize it, and I agree they do it. But it's always in. They may be good at reading it too. I'll go that far as well. How much is the global room? You have to ask them. There's 2 rooms. There's a Global Forces trade room, and there's Global Trade Room proper. Global Forces with Rick May, and it's an excellent room, and John. And Global Trade Room is with Sandy Bavanico and Simon Youssef, and they are terrific. What's the name of the room on the top? Can't see it because it's small. What room? I don't know. Say again. They won't have short trials. They do. Chips at OFA. Yeah, he's trading bonds, but privately he teaches. He doesn't have a track record. Top 1 or 2. You have to go steal a 12. I'm not going to do that. What was the quite undertaking? Yeah, it took a few minutes. But I went to school for 33 years. I could do an extra 6 here. Jigsaw. Doesn't count. You're almost done, right? Let's see here. You got another 50. What rooms are you evaluating now? I showed you 2. This is available. Yes, you go to the website. What do you use for your personal? Yeah, that's a hard one. You have to contact me. At the beginning, why did you choose futures instead of options? I did stocks, bonds, ETFs, and options. Futures are faster. They're run by contract law, not securities law. I like contract law. Contract law is superior. Matt Bow in the trade room. Yeah, no track record. School of trade. Yeah, I was in there. No thanks. Love your site you've been following. Yes, I do. Are you following Winvesting? Who are they? Who are the Winvesting rooms? You mean as a group or individually? So, Jeffrey, I see you. Your thoughts on ACE? ACE no track. I get a lot of emails on ACE, so they must be very effective in their marketing. I've seen ACE, by the way. They don't have a track record, and yet I get a dozen a month. Quit. Stop that. What's your opinion on a reasonable price to join? Reasonable. Let's just be polite about it. Reasonable. Let's take a room that, let's say, makes $500 a day, right? There are a lot of rooms that make $500 a day. $300 a day. Let's do $300 a day. $1,500 a week. $6,000 a month. What should you charge for $6,000 a month? $6,000? Well, that's too much. How about $3,000? That's too much. All right. How about $1,000? That's too much. All right. How about $500? That's too much. It is too much. No. What's the 1/20th? Right. 5% of the take would be a reasonable pitch. Make $6,000, you can charge $300 or $350. Who cares if it's $6,000? If we list the rooms that make 30, yeah, you can. You can list room 30 to 49. Well, it's not 30 to 49. It's like 10 to 28 or 30. What about Jay Werman? What about him? I haven't seen his track record. He doesn't post accurate trades. I've been in his room. I have people that have asked me to go back. I haven't gone back. I go anonymously. Where and when will you be repeating this presentation? I don't know. I'll ask Dan if he'll let me do it. You don't get paid by the room. Why bother to do this at all? Because, I got beat with a stick and kicked to the curb, and at my level of academic achievement, that does not happen often. So I'll put it in a word for you. I was pissed off, and I could not figure out why I had failed. It was beyond me. It shouldn't have been. But it was beyond me. When you fail, it's all right to fail. They consider failure success if you generate the knowledge to avoid it in the future. I failed, and I couldn't figure out why. I said, what is with this? What's your relationship with True North? True, nothing really. Actually, they have I have my billboard up there, right? My bulletin board with my stuff. I'm moving to the Global Trade Titan website. I met True North. They weren't called True North then. They were called Tesseract, and they had the gravity system years ago. I met them as traders, and we compared notes, and they gave me a place to recommend all the other rooms, which is incomprehensible from a marketing perspective. Tesseract has a website that recommends 12 other rooms besides them. Can you find anyone in their right mind who would ever recommend 12 other rooms? I won't trade Ace. Maria, I love Maria. I know Maria for years. She is my favorite person. She needs a track record. She knows that. We've gone back and forth for weeks because I would love to have a female woman Titan trader. I haven't picked men because I'm a chauvinist. I've looked at the women. I can give you a list. I've spent extraordinary amount of time trying to find a woman trader, and she is it. She is very close. I think she's wonderful. I would love to have her come. She's listening. She knows. You sat in the Fib Queen. Yeah, so what? There's a Fib Queen. There's a Fib Doctor, right? There's Fib Monsters. There's Fib Giants. There's trading can be very humbling. It is. I've gotten beat up a lot. Tessa, what's the TNT membership? Oh, I don't know. You have to email them. I don't do them. You need a lot of contracts. They do 3 contracts a trade. You don't need a lot of contracts, right? 3 contracts a trade, right? I mean, I walked through the track record. They pop $1,000 a day. They've been doing it for what, 5 months? Why would you feel 3? Everyone uses. All my math is based on 3 contracts a trade. All of them. Every room. All 780 of them. So if they trade 1 contract, I triple their profit. If they trade 10, I dummy it down to 3. I mean, the Strategy Lab trades 10, 15, and 25. Well, it's too bad. It's so sad, right? The Atlas line has 1 or 10 contracts, right? No matter what they trade, all the records are at 3. All of them. So you can go to the website, Manny. The website has that. Fifth Queen might be a good choice. It's just you have a track record, yes or no. There's 683 rooms that don't have a track record. If you spend a week in each, it would take you, what, 12 years? That's a long time. So, you know, I've been in hundreds of rooms that don't have a track record, and I have to make it myself. You know, I have to keep track of what they're doing myself. I don't want to do that. If you want to do that, you can do that, right? They don't want to do that. Why not? I don't care. It's their business model. They can do what they want. But the point is, at the end of a week or a month, if I didn't write it down, it doesn't exist. I can't evaluate what does not exist. Did you mention the top 1 or no? And it won't. You know, you got 12. Pick them out. Take a look. Dig down. Yeah, I am familiar with a rational trader. Very much so. I get it all the time. I get those announcements, right? You know, what's it? Show me the track record. You know, show me the beat. All right, do you have any more questions? I want to get them back on schedule. And if you have any more questions, I'll answer them, but if not, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much. I see you have almost 500 questions. Yeah, chatty. All right, any other questions? 301, going once? Going. What is the time needed? 30 minutes or an hour. You can pick one, all right? You can always have you look at the trade services that make good trading recommendations regarding a market or instrument that will move when you decide. Yeah, it's a little too mechanical for me. Really, which rooms can I go see? You can go see the top 12, yeah. I have a review on Alpha Wave Trader, Alan. It's on my website. I reviewed her for 7 months. I look at diurnal variations, circadian rhythm, secondary pullbacks, and harmonic curvature. I know the next room you are reviewing. Oh, yeah? Well, that's good. And, you know, I email a lot of rooms. I'm going to tell you, I email 50 a month and say to them, will you let me in? Will you post a track record and let me in? You cannot imagine how many doors are slammed in my face. My nose used to be a lot bigger than it is now. They don't want me in there. And, you know, here's the point. What they hide from me cannot be in your best interest. Right? Hey, Revan. So Revan Wood is responsible for the term trade titans. He is a trade titan. He's a remarkably gifted, pleasant, easy to understand, accomplished trader. Man, he's one of the treats to be in, and I spent a lot of time in his room. He is an ES king, super king. What room's at type 12, do you think? Okay, is that it? Good. Going on, info. I talked to Bill. I spent a lot of time on the phone with Bill. Bill is Bill. Bill's going to be himself. I think Bill is good. I think he is very talented. I think he knows how to trade. I think he has an accomplishment. But at the same time, you know, he doesn't have this kind of easy to understand type of mentality, and he won't let me just sort of walk in the room. And I've been, yeah. Wait a second here. Okay, so I'm going to finish now. Rev learned from Alex. Rev learns from Rev. You know, I think Rev should do a tutorial or a mentorship for Alex. It would help a lot. Alex could learn some neat stuff. Yeah, no more ace trades. And you get a spanking for that. I don't want to do ace trades anymore. All right, take care. Bye, Stephen. Thank you so much. I'm done. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you very much, Dan, for having me. Bye-bye. It's called globaltradetitans.com. It's going to be a home for these sites that will specifically allow you to you know, to see when you go to this site, this Global Trade Titans site, you will have 3 options available to you for each room. It's sort of like a one-stop shopping. You click on the icon, and for the room, you get 3 options. You can go directly to the trade room. Don't pass go, don't collect $200, snap, you're in the room. We'll monitor the time, but that's it. Number 2, you can go directly to the website and see the features and benefits and attributes on a single page, sort of like an executive summary for the room. And thirdly, there will be a PDF file, or like a document, that summarizes all the aspects of the room, how they trade, what instruments they trade, when they're open, who's the trader, what's the platform they do, what trade program they use, what's their broker, everything, you know, the nitty-gritty of the back end of the room, as well as the summary of their track record. So with that, you'll have all you need to rifle through all 12 of them, because you want to do that. You want to have like a Whitman sampler here. You want to, you know how you get like a box of chocolates and you poke them, right? You know, this is a box of Trade Titans. This is the best in the world. They are together all at once, and you can shop, window shop, for free, instantaneously on all 12. That ought to help, as opposed to like bagging through all the emails and bagging through all the sites and so on. There we go. But it's not functional, so you can go Google it, but it's not functional. We are building it as we speak. All right, is that good?